Ladies and gentlemen, I got him. Oh yeah, also happy Father's Day to everyone. Big Daddy Gordon Intensify. So, I'm a little embarrassed to say that I've been wanting to buy this model for a long time. Like, out of the recent push-alongs, Henry has been the one that I've weirdly desired the most. I guess part of that would have to do with his more unique design and origins go, along with the fact that he hasn't spoken yet in the series. Now, when I had purchases from the UK on eBay, there were quite a few that were in stock. I had this item on watch for about a month, and I could have bought it sooner on there, but I was still waiting to see if it would ever pop up on Amazon, and it, well, hasn't so far, at least in the US. So I just decided to give in and buy it on eBay. At least it was rather cheap, but I had to wait a while for it to come here. It's kind of funny when you remember that I had the exact same story for when I had bought Gordon here. Anyway, I think this is a good time as any to get Henry here out of the packaging. There we go. So, here is the All Engines Go Push Along Henry, everyone. Gotta say, it doesn't look too bad. But, then again, I feel that way about most of the All Engines Go diecast engines. Like, giving credit where credit is due, they definitely look more accurate to what they're based on than the original series push-alongs. However, I will say that for Henry, you could probably go either way with him. Now, I'm sure what most people will go on to complain about with Henry's diecast model here is that it looks too much like Gordon. He's got the Fowler tender, the curved running board, the oval buffers, etc. But if any one of you guys actually paid attention to All Engines Go, or at least Henry's design there, then you would know that despite it technically being inaccurate to how Henry looked in the original series, it is accurate to how he looks in the reboot. And giving credit to Mattel, they didn't just slack off when it came to making this model by simply just using Gordon's and painting it green. They actually went back and changed a few things to make it resemble more closely to Henry. So of course you have the square firebox, the top feet on his boiler. They even went back and gave him a single window on his cap side. Besides the color and number change, the only other difference between Henry and Gordon's model are the faces. On Henry's, they raised his eyebrows slightly and changed his iris color to green. And it also seems like that the cheekbones extend further out than Gordon's, so that's interesting. Overall, I would say that this is a pretty good model of Henry, especially since I felt that way about his blue counterpart. However, I'm not finished with Henry yet. Now, I may not like All Engines Go, but I pay close attention to certain aspects regarding the series, and one of those is the character designs. With Henry, he's a rather interesting one. When Henry first appeared in Kinda Slows Down, he was literally just a green recolor of Gordon. However, in the very next episode, Dragon Run, most of those errors have been corrected, and that design of Henry stuck throughout the rest of the series. However, throughout Season 1, there were some instances in which Henry's vectors would get confused for Gordon's. For example, in Race for a Soda Cup, there are two scenes in which Henry reverts back to being a green recolor of Gordon, and the only difference between the two is the nose shape. And then in the Tiger Train, when Henry is approaching the crossing, he has Gordon's nose shape and two windows on his side. But then in the very next shot, both of those things have been corrected. So basically, the point that I'm trying to get here is that some of those differences between Gordon and Henry's rigs in the show are absent on Henry's diecast model. For starters, the back end of the running board is curved. Now, this one I can forgive, as one could easily miss this, especially with the front end of the running board remaining curved in all of Henry's appearances. But it would have been nice if they did change it so it would dip downwards. This one is a minor, very minor nitpick on my part, and this would really just have to do with Gordon and Henry sharing parts, but Henry's whistle is a little too low to his firebox. It should be standing a bit higher due to the taller firebox, but I understand why it's that way on the model, and again, that's just a minor nitpick on my part. As for my last gripe with this model, it's something that most people won't notice, and something that I wouldn't be that upset about if it didn't have anything to do with his face. You might be asking, what's wrong with his face? Is it the fact that it looks like Gordon's? Well, if you are thinking that, you would be partly true. Henry's face in All Engines Go is identical to Gordon's, but apart from the iris color, there is one major difference that Henry's push-along forgot to include, and that is the shape of their noses. This really bugged me when I saw images of the push-along Henry. One of the main things for me that best differentiated Henry's design from Gordon's was their noses. If they had just left Gordon's nose on Henry, then I would have a hard time looking at Henry in All Engines Go without thinking of Gordon. And that's how I feel about his diecast model here. Now, the reason why they didn't option to recreate Henry's nose shape when designing this was likely for the same reason why they didn't bother changing the back end of his running board. For one thing, it might have to do with budget and time reasons, because it would have been a very small change if they had bothered to reshape his nose and running board. Really, all they would have to do with the nose is make it a bit longer and have it dip downwards instead of upwards like Gordon's. But that would also require them casting an entirely new face mold for a character that, for the most part, resembles the character that he's essentially a modification of. I mean, this reason is pretty much the same reason to why Bachmann doesn't bother changing the faces on their HO models of Thomas, James, and Percy. Something as simple as a repaint is cheaper than creating an entirely new mold for something. But still, I would have liked it more if they did attempt to give him a different nose shape, because I can get past the curved running board, but I can't get past this, unfortunately. But despite that, this model is still fairly accurate for the most part, and I'll rate it slightly above average. Now, like with my Gordon push-along, I'll add the same details that I did for him onto Henry. So, I'll make part of the running board gray, give him a lamp, black buffers, etc. I'll probably make a community post for when I'm finished with that. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this review / rant, I guess. And I'll see you on the flip side. Take care, and once again, Happy Father's Day. Even though I don't really expect many dads to be watching this video. And if so, I don't think they'd have a YouTube account. No offense. Alright, I'm done. Bye.